Will the Committee of the Whole for Wadsworth City Council on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, please come to order? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Copley.
Here.
Hines. Here. Parrish.
Here.
Renacci.
Here.
Rossbert. Stugmeyer.
Here.
Yuracek.
Here.
And Williams.
Here. I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes for the Committee of the Whole Finance for August 5th, 2025. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Tonight we'll go into the first item on the agenda is draft legislation. On the first one is ordinance number 1. Who would like to address that? Is that you? Yeah.
This is an ordinance to amend the boundaries of the downtown Wadsworth designated refreshment area, that is the Dora. We have a new business taking over the middle school that wants to have open space outside, that wants to have a liquor license as well, and they would like to be included in that designated refreshment area. In order to do that, I have to bring a legislation in front of council that has to have an oral or a public hearing, then after the public hearing, a vote. So I'm trying to get that. They've got a rather ambitious schedule. I'd like to try to keep up with their ambitious schedule and get that done as soon as possible.
Okay. Any questions from council? We need to set a public hearing.
We'll do
you have
that
a date?
during council. Yeah, it
During
will be
council,
October,
okay.
so yeah.
Do you want to move that to second reading? Yep. All right.
Ordinance number 25-118.
And then the next one, item 2.
I can take that, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of council. So this ordinance was discussed at Public Ways. It is recommended for 3 readings and then a suspension of the 3 reading rule. This is involving 2 different projects down at our airport facility that we've talked quite extensively with, one being the PAPI project and the other being the apron project. Essentially, this particular ordinance as proposed allows myself as the service director to enter into the grant agreement documents, basically to solicit the grants that we've been talking about for some time in that regards. It works in conjunction with number 3, at least on the airport apron project side, which is the actual administration construction consultant agreement, which goes along with just the apron project, which is an FAA requirement, if you will. By way of background for some members of council that may not be as familiar with the PAPI and the apron projects, essentially from the grant standpoint, we're talking about $1.9 million in FAA grants, which would be a 5% match for the city, totaling 104. That's for both the apron and the PAPI projects.
For both. Okay. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, sir. We'll suspend and call.
Okay.
That'll be 25-119.
And then the next one, number 3, same way, same timeline?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll be 120, sorry.
Okay. Any questions from council? Yes.
Is there a long-range plan for the airport? I mean, it includes not only these things, but the next 10 years and development and all that?
It's an excellent question, Mr. Renacci. I think the airport is a challenging enterprise for the city right now and comes with its hurdles both fiscally as well as in terms of long-range planning and our master plan documents. So we need to do some work as a city administration, as a council together to understand where we want our general aviation facility to go and where it is currently. So we've got some work to do there.
Okay. It may help also, this has been an ongoing item for development. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 years, I believe, before we finally got to this point. So,
You're correct.
yeah.
Thank
you.
I actually think it goes probably back.
Probably more than
Even
that,
longer
but
than
There are
that.
aspects of it that does. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we'll move on to item number 4.
I can speak to that, Mr. Williams, members of council. This is a request coming out of public service. It is a scheduled replacement of a bucket truck for our electric distribution division. The purchase, as anticipated through a cooperative purchasing agreement, is for $440,000. There was a recommendation for 2 readings. This is a long lead time piece of equipment.
Okay. Questions? Councilmember Stugmeyer?
We'll move that second.
Okay.
That'll be 25-121.
And then
Thank
the
you.
next one, number 5, did you want to address that?
Yes, I'll address that, health insurance. So we are in our 6th year with the Ohio Government Benefits Cooperative. We joined back in 2021 for the purposes of stabilizing our health insurance renewal. We have definitely done that. This year is a 2.6% overall renewal, which is fantastic for the market and fantastic for our own palms. We have had some atrocious claims weeks this past plan year, so I was thrilled to get 2.6.
Questions from council?
Does the city still have the plan with a low end and high end and kind of an open plan?
No, we
It's-
have one plan that is offered to everyone.
No, I'm talking about overall, the plan, the health insurance. Is it a, where you pay a base premium for so much and then the city reimburses so much and then there's a cap?
Are you talking about stop loss?
Yeah, stop loss and all,
We have
yeah.
stop loss insurance as a part of
Yeah,
our.
so it still is a, I forget what they call it, but it's a plan where you pay the base insurance and then the city pays the actual cost and then there's a stop loss.
Yes, we are self-insured.
Self-insured, that's- yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
we still are, even as a member of this co-op. So we pay we pay our claims. You know, in our renewal, they give us expected claims, you know, which is based on the actuarial forecast
Right.
of our current health of our members. But, you know, sometimes we are below those expected costs, sometimes we go higher, we pay claims. I always say claims are claims are claims. Our fixed costs are actually going down 14% this year because our stop loss went up a little bit, admin remained the same, but Medical Mutual negotiated with us to share pharmaceutical rebates. And they increased those rebates by 75%. So yes, we still pay that stop loss. We have a $150,000 individual stop loss threshold. Right now, we have 3 individuals who've met that stop loss threshold. But almost to the end of the year, knock on wood, hopefully that will be it. But again, it's a super renewal.
Any other questions from the
When
committee?
does this renewal have to be renewed?
We have a plan year of September 1st, so this would need
September
to
1st?
be suspended and called tonight.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Copley, you were instrumental in this. Do you want to suspend and call that, please?
That'll be 25-122.
Okay, that takes us to our city council agenda review. First is ordinance number 25-116. Councilmember Hines, we're on second reading.
Third?
Okay. And the next one, 25-104, Councilmember Stugmeyer.
You know, the cable rates, in our last service meeting, we discussed the cable rate increases for individuals living outside the city, and we will amend this ordinance this evening to reflect those additional charges. And I would think that since we're not decreasing prices, we're going to increase those, maybe move this to a 4th reading.
Okay. And you have the verbiage?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you go ahead and amend
Okay,
that.
yep.
Any other questions?
One thing I'd like to bring out too, I just spoke with Mr. Testa before the meeting tonight. On page 2 of the amended ordinance, it talks about taverns and exercise facilities and stuff like that, assisted living facilities, bulk customers. And our rates are still the same for inside and outside the city. Mr. Testa told me we don't have any of those outside the city. What if one of them was to come in? Should we also update these charges since it's going to 4th reading and amend it all at one time?
Well, we could. We're moving away from cable, so it's probably not likely that it could happen, but it would be easy enough to update that section for the next reading.
Okay, let's do that
I
then.
mean, other thoughts, I'm
Yeah,
more than happy to hear them.
Well, it'd be consistent, that way that way everything's consistent. And the prices are going to be the same from, we could just read the page before and move them over. We don't have to do a study on what they should be, so.
Any other questions on that?
I just,
Yeah.
so, and I apologize, I'm still trying to catch up a lot of stuff, but are these rates comparable to competitors? I mean, how close are they, and are we under their rates, same?
Thank you, Mr. Renacci. the rates were designed to be competitive. By way of comparison, our lowest level cable rate would be about $36. That would compare to Spectrum's lowest rate, which would be $49.99, Dish at $67.99, DirecTV at $85. Now, there's different numbers of channels with each of those, but overall, we'd have the lowest cable rate of any of the offerings. On the mid-tier or the middle range, our price would be $99. That compares to Spectrum at $100, $92 for Dish, depending on the exact configuration between 110 and 120 for DirecTV. And then on the premium tier, we'd be at $119. Spectrum would be at $110, but you'd have to bundle that with other services to get that. $121.99 for Dish, and depending on the package configuration, about $165 for DirecTV. So the increases were designed to stem the losses because content prices have increased so much since the last time we had a rate increase. So it's not necessarily getting us back in the black, but it's reducing the losses, and it's designed to be competitive so we don't lose existing customers as we transition to fiber.
Thank you.
We're going to wait to amend that.
Pardon me? We'll wait to amend that, yes. Go ahead and move that to fourth reading.
Just move it to fourth, we'll amend it then, okay.
Yeah, please. Okay, the next four ordinances are all about the same topic. Ordinance number 25109, I've given that to Councilmember Hines tonight. Discussion.
Before we start these next four ordinances, Mr. Hiscock, we've spoken at length back and forth through emails and everything. You've provided me a great deal of information and everything, and I'm still not convinced that the roundabout is the right decision. I know that last meeting you stated that we may be able to do a study, okay? Have you found out what that study may cost?
I do. I have information to share with council tonight. So, and it does pertain to the next four items, so it might change direction as to what you want to do. So, in working with Mr. Davis, the city engineer, we've talked with the consultant and expressed the concerns that we've heard and our own concerns about measuring what the right traffic management tool might be there. And they agree, as part of the analysis, the first step in that stage should be a traffic analysis as to what the right measure to address the concerns of those intersections should be. While they've talked a little bit about roundabouts and a little bit about other alternatives, we've asked them to say, before we enter into a contract with you for design work on a roundabout, for instance, we want to know what the manual indicates would be the best treatment of that. So they've given us a price of $30,000 to do that initial traffic analysis. And it would be my recommendation that before we proceed, or perhaps we table all of these next four items, that you give us the ability to move forward with the traffic analysis to determine what the right measure would be. We still believe that we think we'll hear roundabout is probably the best long-term solution and might be the best short-term solution, but at least we'll be able to go through a necessity examination and analysis using the manual to see what the right alternatives for us are.
And I agree, that's the direction we should go with the funding that would have been available. Well, in a time frame to do the study and then the engineering, if it does get to be the roundabout, will the funding still be available for that or not?
There are some potentials that it might not be available, but that's part of what our scope agreement with the consultant will dictate, that they need to move quickly
okay.
if authorized to move forward with that direction. What I would tell you from a suggested standpoint, it's not the only way council can go, is if you choose to table the four items that are upcoming for you and take no action on them, or remove them from your agenda altogether, all that's going to happen is the $350,000 that was going through a process of moving in the budget will just remain where it is. We will not spend those dollars on a project without your knowledge. We won't move forward with any items and those types of things. You just don't need to go through the mechanics of these four steps. That's all I would suggest.
Okay.
Questions? You want to do that or move it to a fourth?
Have you got the money to do the $30,000 study without moving anything?
we believe we have it. We might have to move it within a fund from, for instance, a materials line to a consultant line, but we have it.
Okay.
So there won't be any
So we won't
additional
have to do
supplemental
any
needed or anything.
legislation, you can move forward with that tomorrow?
Yeah, we should be
And
able to
get it
do that
started.
because it's below the requirements for legislation.
So with that, well, with that time frame, though, should we remove these, or should we just keep, like, as Mr. Williams suggested, just keep moving them to 4th and 5th until we do that, so that we don't have to start all over?
There's no harm in moving those, I just don't want to burden your agenda. There's no
Right.
need to do that. If you would consider, let's say we get the results of a traffic analysis, I bring those forth to you, whether it be at subcommittee or at a council meeting at your pleasing, as long as you take action quickly, we can keep the project moving forward.
Okay.
So
I
we're
think we're
probably a
also-
minimum of 60 days away,
I would say at a minimum, yes.
at a minimum.
Yeah. I also think there's going to be an interesting discussion as we get there a little bit about TIF
Yeah.
discussions that also might weigh into this project from a funding level discussion.
Okay.
Mr. President, I was going to add just a concern I had, and again, I'm trying to drink from a fire hose here, because this project is not just $350,000. It could be as high as $1.2 million by the time you start down the path of doing it. And I'm just wondering if there's a way, because I also see the downtown, I see the Brickyard, I see all these projects and all this money. Does the city have like a 10-year plan, specific, measurable, here's what we're going to do, here's how much it's going to cost, so that city council knows exactly what the total costs are? Because I've been told, for instance, the park and playground, that most people were not aware of the cost that ended up being for that playground, because it was not, there was no estimate given in advance. So is there a way the city council could get, I mean, all these are great projects, but I think city council should know exactly an estimate, and then that fixed program should be updated every year, so that, okay, well, maybe prices go up next year, we got to come back to city council and tell them, you know, this park or this or whatever is going to go up. But do we have that? And
So I think we're in much better situation now, Mr. Renacci, than we have been in recent years. That reason I believe that is we have a capital improvement plan and a project which lists not only 5 years, but 10 years or 15 years. Now, as you go further out in that program, I think the numbers become less concrete, a little bit more of a guesstimation there. But we do have that, and I would tell you that's part of our normal budget process too. You know, so we'll be talking about capital projects for the upcoming year with all of the subcommittees of council and discussing what we're proposing. Some of those numbers you have to understand, and I think most do understand, we don't have contractor costs at that point, so we're doing our best to estimate cost on projects and where they go. I think in terms of the playground project, only because you brought it up, you have to remember that there was a combination of approved appropriations within a budget, and then the numbers were coming back higher, so I took the initiative of coming to council and explaining we don't have the appropriation dollars to do what you want. If we want to add a zip line or a splash pad, which were discussions coming from council, we're going to need supplemental appropriations to do that. So we went to council, this council, and talked about additional costs and some of those things. In addition, our finance division does an excellent job of giving us monthly reports that show us where we are with different projects, different accounts. Now, you have to understand those reports a little bit. You have to understand what account to look in to find projects in those areas, and that can give you a sort of a running tabulation of that. Another project that's been mentioned that I've heard about was the fire station project. That was near and dear to me as safety director. I made a concerted effort at every safety committee to make sure that committee understood where the project was from an operation and capital standpoint. But we also talked about costs and charges and provided photos of where we were in description. So I wholeheartedly agree. This administration agrees. You should understand as a council person where we are in costs. You should understand estimated costs, and you should understand during a project where we are. And I think we're trying to work towards a better objective to making sure that we're working together so that there's an understanding of what's happening on projects, there's an understanding of where taxpayer dollars are going, and there's an understanding of both successes and hurdles that we're facing. So I'm committed. I know this administration's committed to continuing to improve and do a better job. Later in September, I was talking to Mr. Williams just this week about scheduling a presentation that Mr. Test and I will do for council that'll go through the current capital improvement planning and hopefully spur discussions and talk outside of the subcommittee meetings about major projects, how we plan to fund them, what does it look like, what are the debt issuance and capacity concerns, where are we going, what can we do, what do we want to do? And so I think those are all very important questions that this side of the room doesn't have all the answers for without having a thorough discussion with that side of the room as to where we go and what's going to happen. At least that would be my objective.
Now, the only thing I would disagree with you on is you said that the council should be looking here, there, and whichever way. The council really should be handed, you know, this is what we estimate. And by the way, estimates are going to change. That's why I said it should, every year,
Agreed.
it should be reevaluated and changed. But I don't think city council should have to say, well, I got to look over here, here, and here to determine how much the total cost of this is going to end up being. So I know, I'm hoping, I'm only serving for 6 months, but I'm hoping at the end of 6 months, I at least have a good feeling as, here's what the city wants to do over the next 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Here's how much it's going to cost in total for these projects, and here's how we think we're going to pay for it. I think that would be something that would be great, not only for this 6 months, but for the next 6 years.
Agreed.
Well, very good, and I agree with that, and that's why I requested a meeting with administration, and we're looking at some dates sometime, probably later in September, to address those exact things. So we thank Director Hiscock and Auditor Fix for working on that. So, okay.
Shall we table it or move it to vote? Council's thoughts?
I'd table it.
Yeah, let's table it.
Table it?
The next 4.
And you need to remove them from the agenda.
Pardon me?
And you also will need to remove them from the
Okay.
agenda.
Do you have language for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll table all 3 of those,
Three?
or 4
And
designs.
then that way it can go back to Public Ways and be discussed
Yeah.
once we get the recommendations back and everything.
I can do that.
Okay. Then that takes us to ordinance 25111.
You mean 113?
Same one. 3.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, the eyes are working bad tonight. 25113.
I'll call.
Okay. And then ordinance 25115
I'll call that as well.
and 25094.
I'll call that as well.
We're having a public hearing.
Sorry.
We're having a public hearing on the 113.
Oh, here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually you don't call them.
We don't call that, so you'll move that to 4th.
Oh, we do have that?
Yeah.
That's tonight.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
4th, 113.
So 094.
Mr. President?
Okay.
Mr. President, ordinance 25120, I indicated I would call that, but we do have time, so I'm going to move that to second.
Which one?
25120.
120. Okay. Second. Okay. That brings us to the discussion on the tax increment financing. Did you want to handle that,
Thank you,
Mr. Morris?
We're here towards the end, it's the finish line, for council involvement at least. The Vance property, as well as been talking about for the better part of the year. It is annexed into the city, it has been zoned, and now we work on engineering. One of the things that we have asked this developer to do is to conform their plans with our master plans. These are conditions that we're putting on private property beyond the zoning. These are for things we would have done, our plans are to have done over the years if we had endless time and endless money. But now that the property is being developed, we're asking them to do it on our behalf. When we get to those stages, those are times when the city is partnering with private to do that work, and there needs to be compensation at that point for the stuff beyond what is helping the development, but is there for the master plan. So the first part we have to understand is, are these improvements that we're requiring or that we're having, are they actually important? There's two real ones in this case of infrastructure that is, we believe, important and has to be done simultaneously with the construction. One of those is the bringing through Smoke Rise Drive. If you do not have the developer bring through Smoke Rise Drive and you let a developer just develop naturally, you would get something that looks much different. This is put up there on the board. That's what, it's a different development entirely. It's not this development, but that's the type of development you could have when you don't require a road going through. Certainly, if this would not solve any of our connectivity area problems between the east side of the town and the north side of the town, it would not be for thorough traffic. It would be cutting through neighborhoods. That's not something our master plan wants. Our master plan wants a straight shot going through without houses built on it. So is that an extra that is important to the city? I would suggest it is. The second extra that we're asking for is the water line, and I certainly let engineers tell you why it's important, but from my understanding from talking to the engineer for the city, it's extremely important to bring looping from the north end of town across the highway of 76 for a variety of reasons, particularly in the development of the south. This has been on our plan for a lot of years. This is the time to do it because we're going on roads. We don't want to tear up new roads, put in pipes later. We've been pushing this out year after year because the money never is quite there. So this is the opportunity to do it. So do we want, what type of investment when we put money into this, is there a return on the investment? The development itself will provide, once it's fully built out, approximately $2 million a year in property tax. That doesn't all go to us. It goes to a variety of different people, including the schools, including the township, including the county, including the city. So the infrastructure is needed. The additional revenue is always welcome. How do we make this happen is where we come to now at the end of this very long road. The discussion is on TIFs. It is a tax incentive or tax increment financing. And the theory of the TIF is that we take that $2 million a year of new money and somehow we use all or a portion of that to put in the infrastructure that is necessary for the project to go forward. If we don't do anything, the money is zero. So this is growing the pie. It is not slicing up the pie. So without the project, it's zero. But if we create a new revenue stream by increasing the property values, increasing the property taxes, and apply that stream to the infrastructure, it would make it possible. So there's two kinds of TIFs that we talk about primarily. One we've used a couple times, and one some other jurisdictions are using that I would submit for your review. The primary one that has been used, that we have used in the past, is 75% 10-year TIF. If you have one of those, what it is 75% of the new non-exempted taxes will go towards the infrastructure. 25% would go where it would normally go. So this was what is the preferred TIF methodology according to Rule 24 of Council's code. What's exempted? That's important. So under the revised code, the exemptions would include things like child services, development and disability, public library, and the township and the fire EMS levy. Those would be exempted, so they would not be part of the divvying up between 75 and 25%. So let's take a look at what this would look like. So the developer gets a bond or gets a loan or somehow gets a large sum of money to start putting in some of these projects that we are requesting. They put the road in, they put the turn lane in before they build one house. So the increment, the TIF wouldn't have any additional money for that time. They're still building out the road. Once they start building roads, then that 75% of the eligible part of it would go into an escrow account. Essentially start filling that up. Once they're done with the project that we've agreed is part of public infrastructure, and they've done it, we've inspected it, we're happy with it, then we release from that escrow account the money to cover that for the public infrastructure fund. So this isn't something where they get a windfall, where they get all of that money that comes in. No, they would get only that money for what is agreed to, and in this case, it would be related to the Smoke Rise Drive and related to the water upsizing. Once all the projects are done, then you have two choices. One choice is you have, you end the TIF at that point. Based on the fact that this is about $3.5 million worth of infrastructure that's being put in, it's not going to take 10 years to do. So there'll be extra money on the back end if we chose to continue it. If we didn't, we could close the TIF after 6 to 8 years, and then everybody would get the money as they would normally. If you wanted to continue to grow that escrow account, you can start using that money for other projects that are near or affected by this project. So if we're talking about a light that would need to go in because of traffic, or some development north on Reimer, or a traffic circle, something like that, that's over within a half mile. And so we could use that money for other infrastructure needs as they come in. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which is not part of Rule 24, but it is relatively new, is the no school TIF. That spaces it out from 10 years to 30 years, but the largest person or entity that gets the TIF or the property tax is the school. You pay them back 100%. So all the other ones end up in a pot. The county has a right to object to that. They did. So that means half of it, everything over 10 years, goes back to the county. So that means that escrow account is more and more slowly done, and over a 30-year period of time. I haven't heard a lot of people say that that's what they're looking for. So my focus now is the 75-year or the 75% 10-year. In order to start this, to comply with Rule 24, to comply with general policy, I need a development agreement. I got to prepare TIF legislation. I've got to talk to the Wadsworth City Schools as well to discuss this matter. I have had conversations with Dr. Hill about TIFs and financing. I got to continue to do that. A lot of work. Before we go down that road, I wanted to answer any questions you had on this TIF process, confirm that you're looking at a 10-year 75% as well, and so that I can start the process and find out whether or not you think that those are worthy projects for the public funds.
Okay. Open for questions, comments.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, we've already talked, and I would tell you that I support the TIF, I support the water loop. I think that's a necessity, and I support the extension. The only thing, and I like the 10 years, but the only thing that I would ask, and I know we talked about this, is if we are going to spend, if the city has money that's going to be spent on that intersection, can it be earmarked out of this TIF? I mean, you said we could use it, but I'd rather be earmarked so it's not used for something else. Is there a way of using the TIF dollars to improve that traffic signal on the north end?
Yeah, we can do something like we issue bond and then guarantee the bond off of that TIF revenue, and then the bond be issued and then paid back through the TIF or earmarked that way. This is a little high-end stuff, a little out of my depth in terms of some of the legalities of that, so I would defer to some other issues, but yes, I believe that answer is true.
You can't extend the TIF zone to go over there so that it's included?
Yeah, it's a project that's within the area, and it
Right.
doesn't have to be,
So
I don't want to expand the TIF zone so that other people get taxed at a different rate. Well, what you do is you say these are TIF projects, TIF eligible projects.
Questions? Discussion?
I'd like to ask Mr. Morse, since you brought up Rule 24, can you touch on number 5 a little bit? Projects considering TIF must have substantial investment and job creation impacts. A residential development is not a job creation.
Yeah, TIFs haven't been used just historically for residential. Originally, they were for the industrial. They got moved into commercial recently, and then most recently now they've moved to residential as well around the state. Is there substantial investment? Sure, they're going to put about $150 million in building houses here. That's substantial. There is job creation with the building of it. But when you created the Rule 24, I don't think that residential was envisioned for it. I think it was, that question is geared more towards how much is this industrial going to build or bring in for jobs, how much is that commercial going to bring in for jobs?
So, Councilmember Renee, so you were around when these rules were put into effect with the TIF that we did on Route 261. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, again, we didn't want to do residential, and it was only supposed to be for job creations, commercial. So, I mean, it doesn't mean it can't be done. I've been on the other side of a TIF where we've developed residential in other cities. The thing you have to worry about most is what happens if the development doesn't succeed. Now, I will tell you, in the development that we were on, the development side, it was in 2007. And this development succeeded, but it took 15 years to succeed versus 2 or 3 years. So the real problem with residential is that's the risk. And I think that's one of the reasons why back when we did not really want to gamble in residential. Doesn't mean you can't, but if all of a sudden the market turns down and these lots don't sell, that's a real issue.
Yeah, the issue is then who gets the risk? Is it the city that's on the hook? In the past, when we've done it, we've been the one that issued the bonds, we issued the debt, and then we have a minimum payment we have to make. Under this scenario, they're issuing the debt on their books. So there is no minimum payment that we have to make. And not until the projects are done do we release the TIF money that would come out of there. So if they're not done, they get no payments, that's on them.
Well, the only thing there is if they fail. I mean, it's their debt, but if they fail, it's our city and we're stuck with it, we're probably going to have to pick up the pieces.
It's designed so we don't have to or try not to, but I can't think of every scenario, as I said right now.
It's on the tax roll. It's all on the property owner. It does not fall on the city. It's like a tax bill.
Let it go.
The bond and the obligation.
No, I understand, but if the development fails, it becomes a city issue, which the city will have to step in. And the only reason I can tell you that is because they were worried we were going to fail. And the city was concerned about having to dig us out. We didn't, but I just say that, if all of a sudden the project fails and you walk away, we have a water line, we have an extension, and it's all on the city.
Well, it's already in. Once it's in, it's not nothing on because we already paid for it. I'm talking about the way we pay for it is issuing bonds. When we issue those bonds, we're obligated to make those payments to the extent it doesn't get billed to build up the TIF, as Mr. Moore said, then we still have to make those interest payments. If we go out, it is a tax bill, but it doesn't, it's just like any other tax bill. So.
And you've got the money, right? Because the money doesn't get released until the work is complete. So either you've got the money to complete the work, or the work is complete. So you either got your water line and you've got your road, or you've got your money to build your water line and roads.
Totally understand, but you don't have the houses and the real estate tax value to cover the TIF. That's the key. I mean, if you just walk and you got a loop and a street and none of the houses get built, there's no real estate intrinsic value that gets built in to get that. That's the risk.
And in that scenario, the bondholder is the one holding back. The person that buys that bond and invests in the project, they lose their money.
Not the city. That was the only point.
I get it.
Any other discussion?
Well, that's the direction from you. If you want me to start preparing all of these documents,
We have one more question here.
or is this something?
One more question.
Well, it's not a question, but I do think we're going to have to revise Rule 24 if we go forward with this, because there really is no job creation. So you know.
You need to clean it up a little bit, the
We
language.
probably need to clean this up.
Yeah, okay. Make a note of that.
It would be my recommendation to start moving forward. I mean, I'm
same
for it.
here.
I don't know about everyone else.
Clean up Rule 24 and move forward.
We're not taking a vote, but yeah, I think that's the direction we'd like to go. Okay. All right. Any other business?
Yes, I'd like to go back to ordinance number 25094.
Yeah.
I was doing some taken some notes here, and that's for the rental storage facilities. I'm still having discussions with the law director's office in regard to right to inspect those facilities. I'd like to see that move to 5th reading, if at all possible.
Let's do that. Yep. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Will the regular meeting of Wadsworth City Council for Tuesday, August 19th at 2025, please come to order. Will you please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag and remain standing for the invocation?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, who has given us this good land to be our heritage, we acknowledge our dependence upon you for all things, and we thank you for all your blessings, including the right and privilege to govern ourselves in this free land. We pray that you would grant us all wisdom to make good decisions for the future of this community. Through Christ our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Copley.
Here.
Hines. Here. Parrish.
Here.
Renacci.
Here.
Rossbert's out. Stugmeyer.
Here.
Yurcheck.
Here.
And Williams.
Here. You've all had the opportunity to review the minutes for the regular city council meeting on August 5th, 2025, and the special city council meeting on August 7th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes for the regular city council meeting on August 5th and special city council meeting on August 7th, 2025 are approved. Tonight we have a public hearing on ordinance number 25-113 concerning zoning district classification. Will the clerk please read the ordinance title?
An ordinance to change the zoning district classification of 35 parcels listed on Exhibit A to this ordinance from the C-1 Commercial District to the Transitional Mixed Use TMU District and declaring an emergency.
Okay. And I'd like to invite our planning director, Mr. Kaiser, to speak about this.
Back in February of this past year, council did adopt a TMU, transitional mixed-use zoning district text. That was done, and then the next step is to actually create a district on the map to actually have it. And that's what this ordinance does. It creates the first TMU zoning district. I assume you've all seen the ordinance in the attachment. The 35 parcels are just on the east side of High Street and north of downtown. Adjacent to the CBD zoning district. And it was felt appropriate that these properties are probably a good first choice for this TMU mixed-use district. Most of the properties are small. They're mostly residential, so it takes the non-conforming residential aspect of it, makes it conforming, but still allows them to be converted to smaller scale uses that are similar to what you find in downtown, offices, restaurants, etc. That's really all I have. If there's any particular questions about the ordinance or the map.
Any questions? Seeing none, I'd like to, thank you, Mr. Kaiser. I'd like to open the council hearing for public comment. Any speakers, please come to the podium one at a time. State your name and address for the record. And we ask to keep your comments brief, under 3 minutes. Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing for ordinance number 25-113. Per the rules of council number 17, council does not typically vote on the legislation on the night of a public hearing. Council at times does suspend Council Rule 17. I believe you chose not to. Okay, visitors. Are there any visitors who would like to address council? Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments brief, 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
Yes, I have one item from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control regarding a request for a liquor license transfer from Max Convenience Stores LLC to MMCS Services LLC, both located at 1051 North High Street. If council does not object, I will return the application to the Division of Liquor Control by the end of the week.
Mr. Chapin, have we got any issues at this establishment?
No issues to report, sir.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Okay.
No objection. We'll move that on. Moves us to committees and commissions. We had a public hearing tonight regarding an ordinance number 25113. Public Service Committee, Councilmember Stugmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Public Service Committee will next meet on Tuesday, September the 9th, 5:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
Public Safety Committee, Councilmembers Copley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next meeting of Public Safety will be on Wednesday, September the 10th at 4:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
Public Ways Committee will next meet on Monday, September 8th at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Economic Development and Planning, Councilmember Yurcheck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Economic Development and Planning will next meet on Monday, September 8th at 5 p.m. in council chambers.
All right. Committee of the Whole met tonight. We discussed several topics. Commissions and boards, Airport Commission, Councilmember Stugmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Airport Commission will next meet on Wednesday, October the 15th, 4 p.m. here in council chambers.
Stormwater Commission, Councilmember Copley.
Next meeting of the Stormwater Commission will be on Tuesday, October the 14th at 5 o'clock p.m. here in council chambers, and that's just prior to the Public Service Committee meeting.
Very good. Shade Tree Commission, Councilmember Hines.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Shade Tree Commission will be meeting Tuesday, August 26th at 5 p.m. here, excuse me, here in council chambers.
Planning Commission will meet Monday, August 25th at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Cemetery Board, Councilmember Yurcheck.
Cemetery Board will next meet tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. in council chambers.
Okay. Cable TV Commission, Councilmember Copley.
Next meeting of the Cable TV Commission will be on Thursday, October the 2nd at 4 o'clock p.m. here in council chambers.
And Senior Citizens Commission, Councilmember Parrish.
The Senior Citizens Commission will next meet on October 6th, Monday at 3:30 at the Suprema Center.
Very good. Will the clerk please read the legislation?
Our first readings this evening, we have ordinance number 25-118 on first reading, sponsored by Councilmember John Yurcheck and discussed at Economic Development and Planning. An ordinance amending the boundaries of the downtown Wadsworth designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA, and declaring an emergency. Also, a public hearing will need to be set for October 7, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. if there are no objections from council.
Mr. President, I move that we place ordinance number 25-118 on second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-118 has been placed on second reading.
Ordinance number 25-119 on first reading, sponsored by Councilmember David Parrish and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to apply for and enter into a grant agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration for construction and construction administration for the Precision Approach Path Indicators, PAPI, and construction administration for the Apron Project for the Wadsworth Municipal Airport and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move that we suspend the three-reading rule on ordinance number 25-119.
Second.
Stugmeyer?
Yes.
Copley?
Yes.
Renacy?
Yes.
Parrish?
Yes.
Hines?
Yes.
Yurcheck?
Yes.
Mr. President, I call the question on ordinance number 25-119.
Hearing no objection to Councilmember Parrish's proposal, call to question. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance number 25-119?
Hines?
Yes.
Yurcheck?
Yes.
Stugmeyer?
Yes.
Parrish?
Yes.
Renacy?
Yes.
Copley?
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-119 has been adopted.
Ordinance number 25-120 on first reading, sponsored by Councilmember David Parrish and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to negotiate and enter into an agreement for professional engineering services for construction and administration of the airport apron project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move that we place ordinance number 25-120 on second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-120 has been placed on second reading.
Ordinance number 25-121 on first reading, sponsored by Councilmember Tom Stugmeyer and discussed at Public Service. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to purchase a Freightliner Model M2106 with a Terex Optima TCX 55-NOC aerial device from Terex Utilities through a participation in a Sourcewell contract and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I make a motion to place ordinance number 25-121 on second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-121 has been placed on second reading.
Ordinance number 25-122 on first reading, sponsored by Councilmember Ralph Copley and discussed at Committee of the Whole. An ordinance authorizing the execution of all necessary documents to enter into agreements for the provision of health insurance and administration services and stop-loss insurance with Ohio Government Benefits Cooperative for health insurance benefits for the city employees and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, due to the urgency of this being passed, with the renewal date being September 1st, I would like to suspend the three reading rules on this ordinance.
Second.
Stugmeyer?
Yes.
Hines?
Yes.
Parrish?
Yes.
Renacci?
Yes.
Copley?
Yes.
And Yurcheck?
Yes.
Mr. President, I call the question on ordinance number 25-122.
Hearing no objection to Councilmember Copley's proposal, call to question. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance number 25-122?
Yurcheck?
Yes.
Stugmeyer?
Yes.
Copley?
Yes.
Renacci?
Yes.
Hines?
Yes.
And Parrish?
Yes.
Let's see, ordinance number 25-122 has been adopted.
And our second reading, ordinance number 25-116 on second reading, sponsored by Councilmember Jeannie Hines and discussed at Committee of the Whole. An ordinance to amend Section 35.32 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wadsworth to add the classification of engineering project administrator in the engineering division and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to move ordinance number 25-116 to third reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-116 has been moved to third reading.
And third readings this evening, ordinance number 25-104 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember Tom Stugmeyer and discussed at Public Service. Excuse me. An ordinance to amend Section 56.01 and to enact Section 56.02 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wadsworth to establish new rates for cable television and streaming services and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I make a motion to place ordinance number 25-104 on fourth reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-104 has been placed on fourth reading.
Ordinance number 25-109 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember Jeannie Hines and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance to authorize a reduction of $350,000 in the appropriations of the 205 Street Fund for purposes other than personal services for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and to declare an emergency.
Mr. President, I move to table ordinance number 25-109.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-109 has been removed from the agenda
And tabled.
and tabled.
Ordinance number 25-110 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember Jeannie Hines and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance to authorize transfer of $350,000 for the State Route 94 and Reimer Road intersection improvements for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and to declare an emergency.
Mr. President, I move to table ordinance number 25-110.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-110 has been tabled and removed from the agenda.
Okay. Ordinance number 25-111 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember Jeannie Hines and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance to make a supplemental appropriation of $350,000 in the 110 General Fund for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move to table ordinance number 25-111.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-111 has been tabled.
Ordinance number 25-112 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember Jeannie Hines and discussed at Public Ways. An ordinance to make a supplemental appropriation of $350,000 in the 425 General Capital Improvement Fund for purposes other than personal services for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and to declare an emergency.
Mr. President, I move to table ordinance number 25-112.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-112 has been tabled.
Ordinance number 25-113 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember John Yurcheck, discussed at Economic Development and Planning and forwarded by the Planning Commission. An ordinance to change the zoning district classification of 35 parcels listed on Exhibit A to this ordinance from the C1 Commercial District to the Transitional Mixed Use TMU District and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move to place ordinance number 25-113 on fourth reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-113 has been placed on fourth reading.
Ordinance number 25-115 on third reading, sponsored by Councilmember John Yurcheck, discussed at Economic Development and Planning. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into an agreement with the Wadsworth Community Improvement Corporation to act as agent for the city pursuant to Section 1724.10B of the Ohio Revised Code for the sale or lease of lands owned by the City of Wadsworth, when authorized by the City Council, authorizing the sale of approximately .06 acre parcel number 040-20C-17-055, owned by the City of Wadsworth to Hazuka Holdings LLC, setting the terms of the said sale and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I call the question on ordinance number 25-115.
Second.
Copley?
Yes.
Parrish?
Yes.
Renacci?
Yes.
Hines?
Yes.
Stugmeyer?
Yes.
And Yurcheck.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Hearing no objection to council members,
Again.
Yurcheck's proposal, call the question. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote in adoption of ordinance number 25-09 or
115.
119. 115.
I'm sorry, here we go. Stugmeyer?
Yes.
Copley?
Yes.
Renacci?
Yes.
Parrish?
Yes.
Hines?
Yes.
And Yurcheck.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-115 has been adopted.
Ordinance number 25-094 on fourth reading, sponsored by Councilmember John Yurcheck, discussed at Economic Development and Planning, and forwarded by the Planning Commission. An ordinance to amend Section 154.545 and 154.546 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wadsworth pertaining to public rental storage facilities and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I move that we place ordinance number 25-094 on fifth reading.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ordinance number 25-094 has been placed on fifth reading. Is there any other business?
I do with, of course, school is starting on Thursday, so from a safety standpoint, if everybody just kind of be aware that, you know, with the Wadsworth Intermediate School, there's going to be kiddos that were walking that are riding now and vice versa, and all the traffic patterns that will be changing. And again, just be cognizant of, you know, again, school starting, and again, give the buses and everybody, you know, opportunities and safe distances. So that'll be starting on Thursday.
Also, I'd like to add to that about safety. School buses are out now, and pay attention to the flashing red lights. That means stop, don't pass. Okay. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.